I pretended to be a homeless teen to make money panhandling. I was 18. I had a sign that said I got kicked out for being a lesbian. One time a gay person on Broadway gave me $100. I just wanted to make enough to wander around Europe. The day I got my visa, I got robbed and took it as a sign to stop. I'm really sorry, gay community. Wow, that really counts as instant karma, lol. This always sucks to hear about because I was actually homeless as a teen. And since I was homeless since my early/mid-teens, I wasn't able to get a bank account or establish credit and was stuck homeless until I was around 24. I had to ask people to let me use their address or phone numbers for job applications, which was super embarrassing. I worked my ass off just to convince someone to give me a job, and then worked even harder to make sure that I kept that job. Really difficult keeping showered and your work clothes clean. I had a few bosses talk to me when I wasn't able to shave my face or I started to sting. So embarrassing. I was also homeless in a particularly cold part of the US. I almost died every winter. I've had walking pneumonia multiple times from working at a car wash during winter. I was constantly harassed by police and was even arrested for sleeping in my friend's van once because it was illegally parked. It's just hard to think about sometimes, knowing there are people who exploit others' hardships for self-gain. But I get it. This world can be tough. You have to do what you have to do to get by. I hope you are doing well in life now. The contrast between your story and Ops is really depressing. Having lived in San Francisco for over a decade and meeting people constantly who think every homeless person is doing what Op did. It just makes me sad that so many people are so cynical when there are legitimate people in need. I personally prefer to buy food for someone, and when I do give people money it's no longer any of my business what they do with it. I know some people are scamming, but some people are legit out on their ass, mentally ill, hooked on some sort of drug. But when you boil it all down, these are still people that need help in some fashion. Open bracket. I worked in low barrier housing in a large city. The homeless population got 2 hot meals a day, breakfast and dinner. Food is donated all of the time in addition to that. I once got screamed at because there was no sour cream left to go with the porridges we were serving for dinner. It was common to get yelled at in the morning because we would run out of sugar for the coffee. It's a strange world. When I give money to a panhandler I realize that it's most likely not for food, but the money is a gift. So I have no right to have a say where it goes. There was a panhandling couple where I live. They would sit outside a busy shopping area with a sign saying they were a poor family in need of money for food. This lasted until someone saw them getting into a luxury car parked a little ways away in another parking lot. They took a picture that went viral around the area. They no longer panhandle, and this is why I never give money to panhandlers. Why are you apologizing to the gay community in particular? You should be apologizing to anyone who you conned into giving you money. You should also apologize to any really poor people who really have to beg to survive. Because there are so many scam artists, it doesn't make sense to give to anybody. I saw one girl in Chicago take off her raggedy clothes underneath wear real nice clothes. Also got to see her with the lad test iPhone. She was cute and got all the money while all the people that were actually in need begged. You'll be surprised on how often this happens. I read plenty of stories about normal people that just go out, sits on the entrance of a metro station asking for money. Plenty of them makes more in one day than someone working for a minimum wage for a week here in Lisbon. This is what I'm already thinking. When I see them actively running a panhandling business in every area of my city, I watch them get picked up and dropped off all the time. It's like clockwork, which is sad because now I don't ever give to anyone I see because of these people. So I know it's confessions Reddit, but yeah, you know what you did, so I won't be a broken record. My brother went around a gated community knocking on doors asking for donations for the local high school football team. He made $60. I never give to panhandlers. When I was living in Seattle, I saw them all over the place. I got in a conversation with several and was told by them that they never went hungry because there was always some place they could get free food. Most of the stuff they got panhandling went for alcohol or drugs. On the flip side, I used to be homeless when I was a teen. We would panhandle on Broadway outside Neighbors, which is a pretty popular gay club in Cap Hill. Most everyone was nice to us, but at least once or twice a week some creepy middle-aged to old gay guys would offer us money for sex. At first we just told them off to scare them away. Then after a bit we decided to start robbing them. We would have them meet one of us on the other side of the QFC or another alley nearby, then rob them for everything they have. Upvoted because more people need to see this shit show. I hope they got off on getting robbed, and I hope that creeps you out. It's more likely than you might think. Working with the homeless over a summer, I learned that while it is annoying to be tricked for cash, often it is cash and not food that are necessary. We never know their actual situation. Someone might need water, medicine, menstrual supplies, new socks, food, etc. But that's their choice to make. More than once, when I was walking around the city giving out sandwiches, more than one person told me they hadn't eaten in far too long and would only throw it up. Even if you give someone $5 and they use it for alcohol, someone else might use it for something necessary. Try not to judge and just help. You don't know what they need at the time. There's a panhandling duo in my town. They both hit up different sides of town. Noticed a few years ago that one of them got into a nice Corvette, followed it for about 3 minutes, and he hiked at a female. She hustled into her yellow Corvette. Like, what the duck? You've got a nicer car than I do, and you just sit outside Walmart panhandling for it. Duck, you guys. It was so strange. Last night I had a guy asking me for money, and he was wearing gold chains and Guxy and other expensive items, while I'm poor as shit. I felt like he should be giving me money, haha. Sadly, the people who really need help are the people less likely to ask for it. This is the truth, and a big part of how they came to be in such need in the first place. We need to stop glorifying self-destructive independence and stop shitting on people who ask for help with almost anything. I used to drive a city bus. My route took me by a Walmart, and about a half mile down the road it went by a Target shopping center. I had homeless panhandlers that would park at Walmart and catch the bus to panhandle at Target. They worked shifts. Most also had apartments. I will say this for them, at least they came and stood out for hours with a sign. I also went by a welfare apartment building, and they all complained about how little they gave them. I don't speak for the community, but I appreciate your confession. If you really want to make it up, there are a few organizations, like True Colors United, that aim to help homeless youth, of which a disproportionate number are exactly as you pretended to be. Read about what they do, and if they seem solid, send them a small donation. Close bracket. I agree. You don't even have to donate money, but maybe time. Find an organization in your area that works with homeless youth. I don't think it has so much to do with the excuse you used while panhandling, such as your sexuality. Other fake panhandlers have used millions of fake other excuses, but the actual theme is that you were behaving as an entitled 18-year-old. It sounds as though karma has more than made up for it by getting robbed, almost kidnapped, and carrying years of guilt. That guilt leads to shame, and shame skews our perception of ourselves. Try to remember that you were 18. If every one of us had to confess our worst acts at 16 to 19, you might realize you are just human and learn from your mistake. Nonetheless, maybe there's more to it. Perhaps you are meant to work with youth, homeless, at risk or otherwise. I think at CALIFORNIANAVYDUDE is onto something, but I do not believe for a second that you have any more making up to do. I end up talking to my wife and kids about this way too often. IMHO. You had nothing better to do than ask. And I usually have nothing better to do with whatever I can spare that I haven't done already or budgeted for. Some people in this thread keep claiming scammers are why they don't give. Well, no. They're not wanting to give is why they don't. Scammers are just an excuse they feel they need for some reason. People who give are the opposite. Looking for an excuse to give. Any excuse. And to see it make someone happy on occasion is a bonus. I wish more people were panhandling for vacation money, and that fewer people needed such charity, or to suffer such indignity, just to get by. I'll tell you a secret though, you probably would have made close to the same amount with an honest sign/story. There would have been more heckling. But I can all but guarantee 95% of that money came from people who would not give a shit. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Scammers all over the internet, but PPL use it every day. We should be envisioning a society where we do not have a sector that is homeless having to panhandle, even if they suffer from drug addiction or alcoholism. If you look at Portugal for instance, and how they have handled their drug and alcohol epidemic, you will find that homelessness fell 98% all because they incorporated them into society as opposed to ostracizing them. There may be a few scammers panhandling, but it's not the majority. See, this is exactly why I'll never give money to homeless people. I don't know who's really homeless. Who isn't. I've even heard stories of homeless people who would camp in the same spots for years, and it turned up all as a scam. It makes me feel really bad for actual homeless people who have to put up with asshole fakers. But I'm not gonna risk my hard-earned money for that. This is why panhandling/begging is illegal here in Switzerland. It makes far more sense to have a decent welfare state that takes good care of people, so that when you see someone panhandling, you know it's a fraud. These people just clog up the sidewalk and make everything look dirty. I'm all for helping the poor, but not by throwing some change in a paper cup. Okay, I get it's an apology, but I'm sorry you're still kind of an asshole for that, because as someone of LGBT community I'm very much in a position where that can happen, so it bothers me knowing that you did that, so you could wander around Europe when that could have gone to a LGBT teen support charity, or to another homeless kid or adult. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.